I want you to put your hands together now for this next gentleman. He's originally from Tampa. He lives in Palmetto. Please put your hands together for the Silver Possum, Mr. Jack Hayes.
Thank you, Sean. Hey, how about that Mike Lucas? Wasn't he something? He's a tough act to follow. Let's hear it from Mike Lucas. Good job, Mike. My name is Jack Hayes, and sometimes I'm called the Silver Possum from Palmetto. That's because my hair is silver and I eat possum, and I was born in Palmetto, Florida. You know how many Polacks? You know how many Polacks it takes to eat a possum? I guess 3. 1 to eat, while the other 2 look for traffic. You know, the toilet seat was invented by a Polak, but it was an Italian that came up with the idea of cutting a hole in it. Yeah, I live in Tampa now, Sean, but I was born in Palmetto. That's a little town south of here, about 40 miles. I wouldn't say it's small, but how small is it? Palmetto is so small that 7-Eleven closes at 5:30. McDonald's has a sign out front that says, over 35 sold. They had a good tourist season last year, though. They both came back. The biggest industry down there is a 400-pound Avon lady. I stopped by their library the other day, but unfortunately their book was checked out. I heard it was already colored in anyway, so. Thank you. Thank you very much. You're a good audience. They had to close the zoo down there because the duck died. I'm not used to an audience like this. You know, I usually tell jokes to 2 or 3 friends at home or at my Satoma club or at a party, but this crowd kind of makes me nervous. I feel a little like a blind man in a nudist colony, you know, just kind of feeling my way around. You know what the nudists call a super sport, don't you? Nudists call it a super sport. That's a male nudist that can hold 2 cups of coffee and a dozen donuts at the same time. I like that one too, thank you. You're about the 2 old maids looking through the knothole in the fence of the nudist colony, and one of them said, "Isn't that Dick Brown in there?" The other one says, "Yeah, what do you think with all this sunshine?" Old joke, funny, you know. Two old maids were getting in an elevator one day, and there was a guy in there with a raincoat. They got in when the elevator started to go up. The guy was a flasher. He did this, you know. One of the old maids had a stroke, but the other one wouldn't touch it. Thank you. You're great. Thank you. 2 old maids. One was trying to diet, and the other was dying to try it. I'm getting married in a couple of weeks, seriously, and all right. There's my future ex-wife right down there. She's a great gal. She sent me a card in the mail the other day. It says, "Jack, I love you just the way you are." And I opened it up. It says, "But don't get any worse." You know, women, I don't know. You can't live with them and you can't shoot them. You know the difference between a wife and a terrorist? The difference between a wife and a terrorist, you can negotiate with a terrorist. Good joke, Ernie. Thank you. Thank you. You're great. Yeah, we went up to North Georgia, or South Georgia, excuse me, where she was born to get married, a little town called Wedlock. Actually, she was born just out of wedlock. Wedlock, I wouldn't say it's a small town, but how small is it? Wedlock is so small, the town hooker is still a virgin. The cab driver wants you to fix him up. The population of Wedlock has been exactly the same for over 50 years. It seems every time a baby is born, someone leaves town. Yeah, I've been married before. My mother-in-law, I tell you, I wouldn't say she talked a lot, but we went to Miami Beach and her tongue got sunburned. Someone asked me one day, "Jack, how's your mother-in-law doing?" I said, "I haven't spoken to her in 3 months." She said, "What about it? Don't you all get along?" I said, "Yeah, I just didn't want to interrupt her." As you can tell, I'm a senior citizen, and three things happen when you get old. First, you lose your memory, and I've forgotten the other two. 85-year-old couple got married. First night they went to bed, he reached over and picked up her hand, and they fell off to sleep. Second night, he reached over and took her hand, and they fell asleep again. Third night, he reached over and took her hand, and she says, "Not tonight, honey, I've got a headache." I met a 90-year-old man. I asked him, I says, "You have sex at 90? What's sex like at 90? The guy says, "It's like shooting pool with a rope." Thank you. You're great. You're terrific. You know, they have missing children's pictures on milk cartons, and I'm all for that, but we senior citizens are trying to get missing senior citizens' pictures put on prune juice bottles. I went to Sears the other day. I bought a power lawnmower, and we got through the sale. The salesman said, "Would you like to have a service policy?" I said, "What do you mean, sir?" He says, "For $89, we'll take care of anything that happens to this mower in the next 3 years." I said, 3 years? Are you kidding? Man, at my age, I don't even buy green bananas. Let's see what else we got going here. I told you lose your memory when you get old, didn't I? You heard about that new sex position called back to back? Takes another couple, but man, it sounds like fun. These two black ladies were in the backyard hanging up the wash, and they were talking across the fence, and she says, "Liza, I heard you got married last week. Is it so?" She said, "Is it so, child? It's so I can't touch it with a powder puff." Thank you. You know, I love dogs. What was that? Oh, I'm 63 going on 24. I love dogs. So about 6 months ago, I bought a dog, and the first day I had it, unfortunately, it got hit by a car. All 4 legs had to be amputated. But I love that dog. Every day I take it out for a drag. The Sunoco station where I get my gas, I had a special on. You know, if you fill up with Sunoco, they give you a free set of artificial dog legs. So I went down there, but unfortunately I was a little bit late, and all they had left were those 6-foot jobs, but I took them anyway. I put them on the dog. It was kind of funny walking around on stilts, but nevertheless, he had a good time. One day the house burned down, and the dog, I blew that one, house caught fire, and the dog burned down. Forget that one. Okay. You hear about the lady that had a dog that kept hunching her on the leg, and so you know how dogs do that. She took it to the vet. The veterinarian says, "Okay," says, "we can take care of that problem. We neuter your dog, and you no more have that problem." She said, No. I don't want you to do that. I thought you might trim his toenails and do something about his breath." Thank you. You've been a great audience, and I appreciate it. God bless you. Keep eating that possum. Keep it going for Jack Hayes. Doing a super job.